Hi guys, the AWS platform runs on what's known as the AWS Global Infrastructure. So let's have a look at what the AWS Global Infrastructure actually is, what it's composed of. So firstly, there's a concept that we did touch on in an earlier lesson, and that's the availability zone. You can think of the availability zone as one or more data centers. So it could be a separate physical building, for example. Now it might be more than one physical building, but you can think of it as having that kind of separation from other availability zones. And that means that you can deploy applications in one availability zone and then into another availability zone. And if one of those availability zones fails, it's not going to impact the other one. So that's what availability zones are. Now, you then have the concept of a region, and a region has at least two availability zones in it. And there are quite a few regions around the world. And that means that you can deploy your resources on AWS into a region that's closest to your users or wherever it is that you need to run your application or store your data. So each region is completely independent from other regions. So any kind of issues in one region are not going to affect any other region at all. At the moment, there are about 24 regions around the world, and that does grow over time. So by the time you watch this, it could be that they've added another one. Each region is also connected to each other via what's called the AWS Global Network. And that is a very high bandwidth and low latency and very redundant network. So that means that there's a great network connection that doesn't use the internet for sending traffic between regions. So for example, you might have a database that's doing some kind of replication, and that can be done across the global network at lower latencies, or at least with more consistent performance than you would get if you were using the internet. Now let's quickly go over to the AWS website, and I'm going to show you the AWS Global Infrastructure page. So if you just search for AWS Global Infrastructure on Google, this is the page that you're going to find. And it gives you a bit more information about the various components of the global infrastructure. And there are some other bits as well called direct connect locations. We've got the edge locations and regional edge caches, which are associated with the CloudFront network, which we'll talk about later in the course. And then it gives you a bit more detail about the regions that are in existence now and the extra ones that are coming soon. So we've got 3 announced regions, so they'll be coming soon. And there are 77 availability zones. Now, if we just scroll down a bit further, there's also a map here. So you can see here the regions that currently exist. And then you've got the ones in red here, which are the ones that are coming soon. So we've got Spain coming, we've got Osaka and Jakarta. And then if you scroll down again, we've got some of the benefits of the AWS Global Infrastructure components down here. So there's a bit more reading if you want to learn a bit more as well.